John, what's good, man? It's been a while, to be honest. For people who don't know, our paths first crossed in, I'd say, a weird, an unusual way, in that I was transferring to a school to play football, and John was transferring out of that school to play football. The coach being trying to be resourceful and thinking that he's English, he's Nigerian, oh, they have some similarities. Let's link them up and let's see if we can attract this person. But regardless, how you doing anyway today, brother?
Yeah, oh, good man. I just missed those indoor football sessions at, at Queens. Good times, man.
Are you still playing football?
No, play for fun now. I don't. I lost my love for the competitive side.
Hmm.
So as much as I've got a couple of teams calling every start of the season, oh, come play, come play, come play. But it's just the amount of time you put into it. It's just I can't. Yeah, my love's not there anymore. So
It's a big commitment, and I think everybody, especially who's gone through the American system, at some point will either come to a realization or they'll realize what they're searching for.
yeah,
In that.
yeah, it changed a lot because like when I came back as well, I was playing full time for a couple of years
Mm.
and paid, doing well. But like I said, the politics as you get older,
Hmm.
you start to realize what you enjoy, and then even it's like at your age, you're playing against younger people. Can you make a big career out of it? Can you progress? All that
Hmm.
those things come into mind. And it's just like, but obviously other things came into place which I really enjoy. So my
Yeah.
passion died down there, but grew in other areas. So
Yeah. So thanks for coming on. Easy Spotlight podcast. On here, we are talking about all things creative, all things young people, all things creating life for themselves, all around doing the things you got to do to make some money. And you, being a person who've done a lot of different things, a lot of different interests, and are just generally creative and talented, you're the perfect guest. And so if I'm just recapping for a few people what you've done, say, as I said, you went to America, you've played football, you came back and you played football for some other clubs here in England and in conference and whatnot. You got a degree in chemical engineering, am I right? You've been doing consultancy or being an analyst, not consultancy, sorry, analyst. Now moving into cyberspace, but also at the same time, you're a musician, DJing. Got that recent feature on One Extra, Reese Parkinson, big up that. So there's a lot of things going on. You had your own brand, My by Wad. To this day, I still don't know what My by Wad means. You always you're always keeping that one, but a lot of different things you've been doing over the years, and so today I want to kind of dissect those, kind of understand the journey you've taken, and kind of see where you want to go. So let's start a bit back, because doing chemical engineering at uni, that's to me that seems like an intense program or something that's like, okay, engineering, all right, this guy's got something going. So how did you first, before going to uni and before going to America, what was your kind of thought process of like, this is what I want out of uni, this is what I want out of football? Where were you starting?
so I went to America because my brother went to America. So at the time I was playing youth team football and under 21, so I had opportunities to potentially stay and get a scholarship. But my brother went to America and it looked amazing. So I was like, you know what, my head's on that. So did the kind of course. I did the showcase stuff and had a lot of offers. Had like over like 60 offers my first year. So I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So kind of set up for that. But regardless, I wanted to do chemical engineering as a degree. My mum's in that field, and I like chemistry and maths, and I'm good at them both. So I was like, you know what it's like as well. You want to get a good degree. We're always told to get a good degree, be a doctor, be this, be that. So chemical engineering was a degree that I thought, you know what, I can do it. Not necessarily to get into the chemical engineering field, but it's a good degree to have. So when I moved to America, that kind of same mentality was there. Stick to a degree that can get you open a lot of doors rather than doing something that's a bit more comfortable. Because a lot of coaches did try and push me to do something more comfortable, and just because they're saying you couldn't do both because it's too hard. But yeah, I always wanted to do chemical engineering from before I came to America, and yeah, that's how, so I've got a degree in it now.
Yeah. And we touched on the football part a little bit of it, but moving from one uni to another, because Queens is both intersected our lives, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit, is just what was, because I don't think there was an engineering program at Queens. Was that one of the reasons that prompted you to move to New Jersey?
Yeah, so the main reason was so Queens had a really good relationship with the people I came across with, right? So they pushed me towards Queens, the recruiting people, which was good. I had a good, amazing year at Queens, but then I also thought I wanted a bigger challenge as well, and to play at the higher division D1, and especially with all the offers and interest I got my first year. And that first year that I played at Queens, we won pretty much the conference and regular season. I got like freshman of the year, so I did quite well. So I thought, you know what, let me challenge myself to something a bit harder, and as well as that, degree wise as well. I was either going to do chemical engineering or computer science, and that year they stopped doing computer science as well. So it was just like all the signs were calling to be like, okay, it's time to move on. So yeah, decided to put my request in to transfer, which was an interesting process. But yeah.
Yeah. That process isn't fun. Not recommended for anybody who's in America now or going in the future. But during that time, I think toward the end of university, right, I knew that time you definitely had my BioWad as something you were doing. And was that at the time where you started to get into DJing as well? Because I'm assuming, from what I saw, you were always playing the piano maybe from a young age.
Yeah, so piano, I always had a keyboard at home.
Yeah.
And piano really kicked off as well when I had surgery, because I used to spend a lot of time when I couldn't play football playing the piano. At NJIT, there used to be a public piano, and I used to spend hours there till 2 in the morning. Sometimes they would just leave me in the building to play. But yeah, I've been playing piano for a long time. My bow had started off more as a concept way before, and other things came into it. So essentially, I won't tell you what exactly it means, but it's more of a brand of like kind of growing through arts is what it kind of means. And it's kind of the thing I used to say to myself when, like, just to remind yourself that you're on a journey and you're creative, and just keep growing through your arts. And then it turned into like more of an identity, because I started using the name and people started recognizing me from the name. And then obviously I remember this one time it was Black Friday and it was shopping, and everyone was spending money on clothes, and I was just thinking, you know what, yeah, I could probably make clothes myself. And I've always had that kind of image in my head of what I wanted. So I was like, I'm not going to spend any money. I'm just going to put money into the clothing. And it was only right to name it after the brand, which which is personal to me. And then, yeah, it just kind of took off. People enjoyed it. But then it started to become an identity. Like, people associate that brand with me in different areas, in DJing, in music, in clothing, and everything else. So yeah, it started off way before, but it just picked up things on the way, if that makes sense.
At that time, yeah. And I'm wondering, just because similar situations, and I have my own things, and coming from backgrounds of African parents and whatnot, is there something there in which, like, okay, yes, you're getting a chemical engineering degree, playing football every day for the uni, you're also starting DJ maybe for fun or whatnot, but you have this brand, this kind of multi disciplined, and always looking for something new or always doing something new, creative. Have you ever thought, like, where's the source of that? Like, why are you a person who's always looking for something new or always being creative and wanting more from your situation?
Yeah, so like my dad was always creative, my mum was always creative, and my brother has been exploring that because does photography and he's really deep into the artsy. But for me, I think it's just like a self-fulfillment thing where it's like I love music, and like DJing. One of my friends recommended DJing once. Like, oh, let's get some. We had a place. So you probably know Colin By, right? So we used to have freshman year. We used to have we turned his room and called it Chino's Lab, and we used to have like a mini keyboard, and we used to try and make beats and just mess around. And then Griffin, who I'm sure you've met Griffin,
Yeah.
close friend, he was talking about DJing. He was like, oh, John, DJing, like I would love to learn. So it kind of inspired me to buy some decks, because I remember speaking to him about, oh, I'm going to buy some decks and learn. And then it became a thing that I used to practice over and over again. And then, like, before you know it, like, frat parties are calling me like, come and DJ. And I was like, oh, okay. but I think it's more of a fulfillment thing where whatever bucket I put myself in, I like to get better and practice, and then opportunities come, and I won't shy away from the opportunity. Even with piano, I practice, and opportunity comes, I'll take it. But like anything that I kind of get a little thing for, like the clothing thing was a whim. I was like, I can make my own clothing. I'll go for it, and it's not really. It's not sometimes like how some people are. Their parents were musicians, so they're music. It's my parents probably did all these different things, but I just see it as, oh, this looks good. I want to, and crack on with it and just take it from.
It doesn't have to be a crazy science behind the whole backstory. It's more like I can do that myself. Let me explore it. Let me create it. That's cool. So you get into the end of graduation, right? And not everybody listens to this podcast, but as people who have gone to university abroad or internationally, you're then starting to face the realization of visas and, do I stay in America? Do I move home? And what are my opportunities, especially if you've grown up playing football? That's also a consideration. Where can I take this? Where can I take my corporate professional career? So kind of talk about that decision, or what was going through your mind at that time, and what led you to choose the path you did.
So my last season, I wasn't getting played as much at this. I was doing really well at the start of the season, and then there was an altercation with me and my coach for something that happened last season, because I got injured, and he didn't think I handled the situation well, and then we made it up. But there was an altercation where I didn't play as much, so towards the end of the season I started to play again. So I didn't make much of a mark that last season to even start considering let's play abroad in America, because obviously if you have a really good senior year, there's opportunities to stay and play. So I thought to myself, all right, cool, like what's next? Do I still want to play football? Should I look abroad? And then Solly Moores, one of the coaches there, reached out to me and said, yeah, come down, come play if you want. So I was like, oh, perfect. Good team, good league, local. Let's do this. So my mind was set on just going back and just go and play conference football. I was like, conference football, from there it will lead up. So I was preparing for that, and that's where my head was really at. When I get back, I want to start playing. I think it was my first week back in England. I had to go train with them, and then the second week was playing Wolves on the 23s. So it was like quite intense, but it was great because I was playing full-time football. I wasn't signed for them, but I was playing full-time football, playing with really good players, some young players. I was 22 at the time. I'm already playing against Wolves under 23s, and like Birmingham City had a couple of players that loaned there that were my age, and so it was kind of eye-opening. Like, I can actually hold my ground at this level and players at similar age. So just continue to play, and that opportunity drove me to come back home as well. Like I always knew I wasn't going to stay in America, just because, like, when you come back to England, it's just like, oh, this feels like home.
Yeah.
I always had that feeling, so I was like, yeah. And like a lot of my friends, I've stayed in relationships, so it's always been like a decision, because obviously I was single. I didn't really have anything that was holding me there. But yeah, came back for football really, and continued to just play. Yeah.
And you came back, you started playing football, but in terms of like maybe using your degree or looking for income elsewhere, what were you doing at that time?
So I was coaching, just to make ends meet. But like, because I didn't have much upkeep, because I moved back to my parents' house, so it was just football and just coaching on the side. And then it got to a point where the season ended, and I was like, okay, what next? So because I wasn't on a contract where it's like you get like a 2-year contract where you still get paid even in the off season.
Yeah.
I was looking at grad programs. So I thought, let me go check out chemical engineering. So I ended up, you may know this, on the A42 in Nottingham, there's a big power station.
Yeah, I remember you messaging me when you were going. I think you went to work there for a little bit, or went to do something. Yeah.
I started working there in the start of the summer, and then football came, and then I was on trial with Alfreton, another conference team league below, and they wanted to sign me, but So I was working, and then after work, going to think it was a lot. Like getting back at 12 on the train, and then waking up for 7 to get to work. I know that it was very taxing, but a great opportunity. And then I continued pre-season with them, but I don't know. And then they was like, okay, well, we want you to try and get some game time. So they sent me off to another team, and played against Nuneaton, and Nuneaton said to me, actually, if you're not signing for these, come sign with us. And they were full time at the time, which was interesting because I just started job in Nottingham. So it's like, what, full time. So I remember driving up to Nottingham one of the days and just thinking, how am I going to work this out? Like, so I said to my manager, I was like, listen, if it's okay with you, I've got an opportunity to play football full time again, and I really enjoy working here. Is there any way I can work here part time? And like maybe I come in on my off days, you know, and I work from home. And he was like, I'll run it up to the bosses in Germany. And then next thing you know, the opportunity came for me to play football. So I used to train in the days and then work a couple of hours in the evening. And then on the Wednesdays, I'd go up to Nottingham for the office. And yeah, I was just doing that. And it was
made it happen. So in that role in the power station, was that your first business analyst role? Is that what you were doing?
I was doing all sorts. So
Yeah.
there was a chemical engineering role. So essentially, the true chemical engineering role, they gave it to someone else, but they liked me enough that they made up a role for me.
Okay, perfect.
So I was working with the sales and marketing and different people on all sorts of projects. So a lot of analyst work, and I did a bit of business analyst work, some chemical engineering work, all sorts. But I was just helping out with loads of bits and bobs, which was quite interesting. But it was my first kind of full-time like experience in the working industry. Doing that and balancing football.
A lot.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, so I mean, we talked a lot about football, and at the start, you kind of mentioned, okay, where your kind of heart kind of has moved, and your passions have subsided and moved on to other things, which you're now pursuing. So, how did that transition kind of start, and was there something that just kicked that into action? Like, okay, now I'm going to go do this. I'm going to pursue DJing more. I'm going to pursue this side of the corporate world more, or was it just more of a needs must smooth transition?
It was weird because at Nuneaton I had a fallout with not fallout. There was a situation that happened that made me realize, because when you're younger and when you're at football clubs and stuff, you're more receptive to older staff. But as you get older, you're older and you're more mature. So certain things people can't get away with, like respect and how they speak. So something happened on Eton that made me realize that actually this whole football thing is I'm not the same John I was when I was younger that would come and tolerate certain things. And then later on, I left the club Nuneaton, and then I just didn't know what I was going to do. So I thought, you know what, let's go back, because I always wanted to study medicine. So I was like, you know what, let's apply to grad school, let's do medicine. So I flew to Belfast, did a last minute like UK CAT, and applied for 4 unis, and everything was going well. And then I was like, okay, well, forget football. Let's focus on medicine. Let's do it. Let's do the career that's gonna, that's gonna help people out, and passionate about. Because for me, I'm very passionate about helping people, no matter how it is. So I thought, yeah, this is perfect. And then I got to a point where, as the time came closer, there was like 4 years at uni again. Oh, I don't know about that. And then end up speaking to my mom's friend who does a course in business analyst, and she was like, just come along to this course. I was like, all right, cool. So I went along to this course, and it was actually quite interesting. I was talking about how you can get paid really well, and it was IT stuff. And I was like, okay, this sounds good. So I kind of thought, you know what, instead of me spending another 4 years at university and then having to start off working by the time I'm 28, I'll only start really earning again. I thought, let me just take this opportunity now and explore it, at least for a year. And if it's not right, then I can always go back to that. And then I did the course, got my first job at a law firm, and I enjoyed it. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it was an interesting transition.
Yeah. And so where you are today from my position is that you've kind of found a momentum in what you're doing, especially in maybe the DJing world and creating your own business in Cyficient. but also doing IT consultancy, right? As well full time. So it seems like there's some areas now while you've been doing a lot of things in the past and kind of finding that you've kind of landed on. Would you say that's where you are?
So yeah, so essentially DJing I was always DJing on the side, but I wasn't DJing out. It was just always like more of a hobby. I'll do an event here and there, especially with football. Like I'm like playing a game and going to DJ. That's tiring on a Saturday. So I kind of put it to the side to focus. And then when I got my first job at the law firm, I was like, you know what, I've got more time to DJ. So started putting more content out there. Started doing more with the clothing brand, getting more stock in. I had just a lot more time to do other bits and bobs because it's your 9 to 5. So things started to grow, and then lockdown came, and it was a great opportunity because it gave me a lot of time to do things. So that's where Cyficient, I had the time to work on Cyficient. My cybersecurity journey started because I've always been interested in coding and stuff like that. So I had time to like actually work. I got put on furlough. I was like, okay, this is perfect. I've got time to look at other things. So furlough was great because cybersecurity, my passion for that started to come. I started watching. I've probably seen every video on YouTube when it comes to cybersecurity. I was like, oh, this is interesting. It involves this, involves that. Because the biggest thing for me, right, is I don't with the business analyst job. I like to continuously learn and be challenged. Where I felt while I was doing that, I wasn't being continuously learning or being challenged. So I was like, okay, I need a job that I can continue to learn. Cybersecurity does that for you because things are always changing in the industry.
And then you started Cyficient. So can you talk to what that is and what that offering you're providing there, and why you started it yourself as opposed to just, I'm guessing it might be going back to the other thing we talked about earlier. Why not just do it myself as opposed to, I don't know, trying to work for someone else? But
so the goal is not to work for someone else. Obviously, the goal is to work for yourself. And I don't want to do a typical 9 to 5. You're probably similar to. I like the freedom. Like I don't anything. I want to be controlled in terms of how I live. So I started Cyficient because one, a lot of people when it comes to security on the internet, there's a lot of lack of education, and it comes to the day-to-day thing. And one thing about me is I can communicate in the IT and technical aspect, and also to your everyday people, which is something you don't find as a lot in the IT world because people tend to be very introvert. So I thought, okay, well, why not try and bring this kind of teaching to just the everyday people and break it down in a way that everyday people understand, and make it fun. So thought of the concept Cyficient, made an Instagram account and started thinking, okay, what cool content can I do? Because not only does that help me educate people, it also teaches me because I have to go out and learn. And then with the goal of in 5-10 years, I've got a brand that I've kind of shaped. So when I do want to work for myself, it's not I'm starting from fresh. I've got this whole thing that I've built and a little bit of a reputation to follow. So yeah, nice. That's how Cyficient got built. Yeah.
No, that's cool, and it's funny how the further we get into your story, you kind of see how all the different pieces that you've done before kind of build on each other. Maybe not on the exact work you do, but at least your philosophy in creating something, and in order to get to the space where you want to be. And so during that time, or while you're on furlough, obviously the DJ, and you've continued to do that. I'm assuming that it's continuing to grow. From what I can see on social media, it looks like it's always growing. Working with Applebum, doing the yacht club last year, going on One Extra. Like, is that something that, like, as you do it more, your passion is just like continuing to grow, or is it just the momentum of it all? Like, where's your headspace with DJing at the moment?
I just love music, so paying me to play music out is great. And when it comes to DJing, your passion grows for the big events. So when you do like the Yacht Week and you do like some of the big events at Applebum and some of the clubs and stuff, which I really love. I love being out there because, I'm getting paid to have a couple of drinks with my friends, play some music, and everyone has a good night. And then, but also as well, financially, like I bought my house last year and all these things. So financially, it helps because so when I wanted to buy my car, I picked up loads of DJ sets, stuff that I didn't want to do. I was in a pub in Nottingham in the middle of nowhere once, and it's not a place I would ideally want to be, but there's opportunity to make some more money, some extra cash. So it's like, cool, let's do it. So it also allows me not only to enjoy myself, but to make it's a good stream of income as well. And it's like I said, it's on my own terms. If I don't want to DJ like in Jan, I said I'm just going to take it easy. I accepted no bookings and just relaxed. But then if I want to say something, I want to buy something or something's expensive or like I'm going on a holiday, I can, pick up the DJ sets and stuff and make some money. But like it is growing because I want to do the more time goes on, I want to hit bigger platforms and do bigger events. But like I said, I just got a passion for music, regardless if it's playing it on live on the piano or DJing. I just love it. So regardless, the passion will continue to grow. Whether I'm DJing now or am I behind me right here.
And you can tell from afar, you can tell when you see it and the way that you kind of promote yourself and if you listen to your music. And for people who don't know, because we haven't mentioned it here, like the music that you're mainly playing, hip hop, R&B, Afrobeat, reggae, and dancehall, all those kinds, right? So
funnily enough as well. So this year I want to do my first Afro House event.
Okay.
I love Afro House. Like I don't know if you know Black Coffee and all that type of South African. If you watch me listen to it, you'll be like, this guy's crazy. But I love that type of music. So hopefully this year I can do my own, which is very different to what I normally do. So
evolving, continuing to grow. So, but with all of this, right? Because one thing I'm always interested in, especially people our age, a lot going on, a lot just in our heads mentally of like, okay, where are we going? And we've got a lot to manage. How are you balancing it all, right? Especially with DJing when it's late night events, working in the day. Like, do you have a structure that you put in place? Are you somebody who kind of just goes with the flow, able to just deal with it all, or what's your way of looking?
I just go with the flow, and so example with work, especially now with my new job being more, I have to be on the ball, especially when I'm testing and stuff like that. It's just knowing when you can and can't do certain things. So, for example, if I've got a test or something that is important and it's going to require full attention and energy, then obviously don't book a DJ set the night before. But if I've got a contingency day where it's going to be a nice, easy day on report writing, then I could probably work to 1 or 2, have a little bit of sleep, knowing that on the next after that day I can have a lie-in or something. So it's always just anticipation of kind of what's in front of you, but I try not to plan things too far ahead, just because I don't know how I'm going to be feeling. I may commit to 10 things and then it comes to the time and I'm not feeling any of them. So I just kind of go with the flow, but I also anticipate like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then, I can have like some days I'll have 3 days of really hard work and then knowing that I've got 2 days off to fully relax. So that will keep me going for it. But being an athlete in America teaches you time management, teaches you how, like, I remember I used to have an exam. would fly to like Georgia and play a game when I've got an exam like in 2 days. So I'll be flying back while studying for my exam. I'll get off, have to go to like your time is just hectic because you've got so much going on, and then you're trying to work and then you're trying to have a social life. But we managed to balance it somehow. Yeah. It's the same kind of thing, but like it's easier.
Yeah,
That's
wicked. And I mean, you're taking it all in your stride. And we're coming to the end of this podcast, and I'd like to kind of finish looking forward to the future and where you're going. And while you're not, say, you're planning everything in the immediate, it seems like you have kind of buckets and bigger areas in which you're thinking, okay, this is kind of where I'm going to be in 5-10 years. Do you think in terms of 5-10 years, or do you kind of say, if I keep doing this, I'm probably going to get there, or,
I've thought ahead to about 30.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking ahead till last year, but then now I did everything. I was like, okay, well, what's next? Yeah. So now I've had that thought, okay, let's take it to 30 and then maybe, like my plans are literally just to keep getting experience in kind of the cybersecurity field, keep DJing and enjoying it, start doing a lot more live music like piano and stuff, and like just growing the brand. And then as well as that, start looking at and like investing a bit more in different areas. So like saving and, and the biggest thing is just enjoyment, because we work hard, and that's the thing, like I work hard to play harder. So there's no point in just working hard for you not to enjoy your fruits of your labor. So that's one thing I did say, like even this year I want to try travel a lot more, So went to Barcelona. Hopefully go to Valencia. Take just random trips and just enjoy. But my goal is by the time I'm 30 to start looking potentially if I'm not really high up in a company or doing something quite senior, start becoming an independent consultant and do my own thing, and maybe looking at growing my own team. So bringing in someone out of university to work alongside me, and then growing it into 2, then 3, and then maybe potentially grow a business. Who knows? But yeah, that's where I see myself being able.
And any specific goals on the DJing side?
Just like, so obviously I want to travel more. So see if I can get some good countries. Dubai is on the list. Maybe do Yacht Week again this year. Some random countries as well, like Sweden and other places. Just so I have that experience of being able to have a paid for holiday while I'm DJing, and like hit radio as well. But the biggest thing for me is I'm not a DJ. I want to be the biggest DJ in the world. I don't care really about if I'm playing the best nightclubs or whatever. Just want to enjoy making my music, enjoy making my money, and do cool opportunities like DJing on a boat in Croatia. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't really care about if I've got a blue tick next to my name as a DJ, because that's not really what it is for me.
Yeah, I like that. I like how when you're thinking travel, I was initially just thinking, okay, travel just to enjoy yourself, but you also like blending it, bringing it together and making it full circle. Like, I can pay for this travel through DJing and that. So
yeah, so even Croatia, like I got paid to DJ on boats and different famous landmarks in Croatia, and they paid for everything. It's just like, wow. And I had an amazing time as well.
Yeah.
So
no brainer.
Win-win.
Cool. I appreciate it, man. For everyone listening, I'll put all the links to like your Instagrams, all your music, Cyficient, everything in the show notes after. Is there anything else you wanted to share today, or?
No, just everyone just keep on grinding.
Keep on grinding.
Enjoying, man.
I appreciate it. It's like, I love having these conversations, especially just learning. That's the thing. I think we can learn so much from people our age. Like, yes, we're always looking to older people. There's a lot of people our age like really hustling, really grinding, doing lots of different things, and you are one of those. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.